Writing for Daily Express Online, Andrea Hossó, who is a member of the pro-Brexit Economists for Free Trade, said that the EU27's image of unity on Brexit is false, and that her native Hungary and other Central European states sympathise with the desire to break away from a super-state. This means that the EU edifice is brittle, and will be torn apart as national self-interest comes to the fore. She said that Michel Barnier's latest document trying to force Britain to give up control of trade in a customs union or break up the UK by letting Northern Ireland remain under EU rule, seems to be a clear attempt to make Brexit difficult enough to be thwarted or watered down. Ms. Hossó claims that member states are being barred by the European Commission from making bilateral deals with the UK, even though it is understood that some are working behind the scenes to make those agreements. She argued, this discipline has held up so far because all member states were interested in the favourable settlement of the UK's divorce bill, to protect their share of funds. Hungarian economist Andrea Hossó insists that the UK has Brexit allies in the EU. Andrea Hossó says that the image of EU unity is false. The image is false. The EU edifice is brittle and torn apart by increasing economic and political tensions. Andrea Hossó, this formidable unity has made its way into the British Remainer psyche as the image of a Roman phalanx facing the lonely UK with an unbreakable facade, but she said, the image is false. The EU edifice is brittle and torn apart by increasing economic and political tensions amongst its three major regions of conflicting interests and priorities: Northern, Southern and Central Europe. Hungary, Poland, the Czechs and Slovakia have used their Visegrad V4 group since Brexit to slow down the increasing attempts by Brussels to take control in a federal state. The four have also found unity against Brussels in tackling the migrant crisis, refusing to agree to EU demands that they open up their borders to a surge of immigrants. Ms. Hossó points out, the migrant crisis drove home the lack of European solidarity, as Italy and Greece have largely been abandoned to deal with the huge waves of migrants landing on their shores as best they can. Southern Europe wants no rupture with the UK, but their governments feel obliged to toe the Brussels line, at least for now. She also has suggested that the dominance of big corporations like the backers of Remain in the UK have had a unhealthily dominant influence on Central European politics in forcing politicians to toe the line with Brussels while millions of their citizens want to leave the EU. She said, they dislike their economic dependency, Brussels' constant meddling in their internal affairs, and the abandon with which EU bureaucrats and politicians lecture them on European values without having any knowledge and even less interest in their culture, traditions and history. Meddling in internal affairs by Juncker and co. is increasingly frustrating European leaders. They are deeply upset by the EU's attack on their sovereignty by forcing migrant quotas on them. She also warned that with the recent history of Soviet Union domination, the last thing Central Europeans wish for is being the guinea pigs of another foreign power's experiment in creating a nationless superstate run by unelected bureaucrats. Ms. Hossó's native Hungary was invaded by the Soviet Union in 1956 when it tried to break away from the Warsaw Pact communist bloc, and now she sees the fight back against Brexit as an attempt to crush opposition to EU rule. She said, the UK is not alone. Millions wish her well and would probably join her if they could.